Hi, my name is Danielle VanderEnde. I'm one of two lawyers who work at the Surrey Parents Legal Center, and which is a legal aid initiative. So I know we don't have much time, and there's lots of great questions I'm sure you all have for the 6 people who presented, so I'm going to try and be really succinct. But if you have any other questions, I'll be around after, but also we have publications, and feel free to take our card and call and ask that, and I'm happy to answer any questions or have meetings with you to talk about our program more, okay? So what is the Parents Legal Center? So we are a child protection clinic that helps parents who have court matters or who have child protection matters in Surrey, Delta, Langley, and White Rock. There are also offices of the Parents Legal Center in Vancouver, Williams Lake, Kamloops, Duncan, Victoria, Campbell River, Prince George, Smithers. So for those who might serve communities in those areas, and I may have missed one, so please check the website if you need, a similar program exists in those communities. So what we do, what is unique about us, it's a new model in child protection services where our hope is to get kids home with families and stay with families quicker and to avoid the child protection process and avoid court and have things be less disruptive as much as we can, and to empower parents through that process and just provide better services, because I'm sure as you've all had clients who've gone through matters with the ministry, it is very traumatic, if not the most traumatic thing that they're ever going to go to, when a social worker is showing up asking questions and people don't know what's going on, people don't know the implications, you're fearing the worst case scenario, and it's really overwhelming. So it's a way that legal aid and legal services is trying to envision other ways of supporting parents and supporting families through this. So our focus, but it's not all that we do, is on trying to get involved as early as we can. So it's an early intervention model that works to address concerns before matters escalate and attempts to achieve alternative solutions that maintain families as much as possible. And what I mean by early intervention is often parents don't get connected to lawyers until their matter is in court, if it ever goes to court. But our model is that if anyone has any contact with a social worker, we can work with you. So we do that through being connected to the communities that we serve in the Surrey, Langley, White Rock area, as well as we run clinics in a lot of community areas to try and get people who may not initially think of calling us, and then trying to help them and support them wherever they're at. And the other thing that's unique about our office is we have lawyers, but we also have advocates. And so our office has 2, one who supports our Indigenous clients and one who supports our non-Indigenous clients. And their job is to attend meetings with clients, help clients get connected to resources. If the client needs to go to a doctor to get a referral for something but is really overwhelmed by that process, we'll go to that meeting with them. If the client needs help applying to a transition center to go to rehab, all of these things we can help them with. So it's not sort of like they're coming, the social worker saying, you need to do A, B, C, D, and then the parent is left alone. So it's trying to sort of embrace people where they are and support them in whatever they need to do moving forward. So our approach is collaborative. So we work with the ministry. I think that doesn't mean we agree with what the ministry says, but I think in our model, it's good to know what the ministry is concerned about and trying to make sure that everyone is on the same page. There's lots of miscommunication with ministry matters. Parents feel like they don't understand what's going on. The social workers have inaccurate information, and the only way to clarify that often is to have a meeting, explain what's going on, try and be on the same page, and on the things that they can agree on, move forward in that, and if there are things that are incorrect, figuring out ways to address that, whether that be through trials or courts or whatever that is, but trying to have a good understanding of what's going on from all sides before just closing that door. So we schedule ADR, or so collaborative meetings, before scheduling court hearings. So like I was saying, I think court is an important tool for parents, but it is also important to know what the ministry is saying, right? I think sometimes you see in the trauma of having the ministry in your life, you're sort of like, thank you. We're just going to set a trial and walk away and then wait a couple months for that hearing, when often, oh, you know what, actually there aren't 8 issues that we're in disagreement of, there's 1 or 2, and we need to focus on that, and we need to try and get kids home as soon as possible. So we also integrate the services of a lawyer of an advocate. Our advocates will assist clients in engaging in community resources, and it's a client-centered team support for the client. Why early intervention? So I spoke a little bit about this. So clients are eligible for our services as soon as the child protection investigation commences. So I have a lot of clients where they've been referred to us, and the ministry is just poking around and asking questions, and the parent just wants to know what's going on, what potentially could happen, what are my options, what are my rights, what are the resources available. And that is where we ideally would get involved with parents, because then we can support them and make sure they're empowered to make the choices that are best for them and the best for their family. We also, early intervention is good because parents are getting the assistance of a lawyer and an advocate, which can greatly increases their chance to fully understand the safety concerns and meet those expectations as soon as possible. Parents do not necessarily have to be in court in order to work with our office. Like I said, as long as the ministry is involved in some way, they can qualify to work with us. And the lawyers on our staff will take responsibility to respond to court applications, and the advocate generally will assist clients in accessing those community resources and provide additional support for meetings. So we have lots of clients where they won't attend any meeting with the ministry unless our advocate is there with them, and often having another person in the room, another person taking notes, another person asking questions really changes the tone and the outcome of those meetings. So who qualifies for our services? The only requirements is that you're a parent or you're a person acting in the place of a parent. So often aunties and grandparents are the ones who are parenting our children, and we would help those people as well as moms and dads. A person also has to have a child protection concern, so the ministry has to be involved in some way, and the file must fall within Surrey Provincial Court. There are some files that might not be appropriate for our office, so some of that might be if they have a trial coming up very soon, we will give their file to a lawyer who can run that trial. Our office doesn't run trials. So if we're working with a client and they're setting trial dates, then we will transfer their file to another lawyer in the community who does legal aid work. If the client has serious or unresolved criminal allegations against them, that may also not be a good file for us. If those allegations are in regards to their children, because someone with a criminal law background is a better suited fit for them. And then if the client has a pre-existing family law file where they're working with a lawyer for that, it may be best for that lawyer to also do their child protection matter, but that's up to the parent too. But I think having, as you know, a lot of our clients have a lot of resources that they're accessing, so giving them another person to contact isn't always the best. Trying to streamline that can be a benefit. So our office has been open for just over a year and a little bit, and the Vancouver office was the first PLC, and they have done a lot of work on figuring out what has been the impacts of their work and how this model is helpful or is a good resource for parents, which is why it's been expanded. So some of those benefits have been, they've seen faster resolution of child protection matters. There's been a focus on parents being more well supported in addressing their and the safety concerns. There's a lot of focus on things that are on giving services that are culturally appropriate and ways that are meeting clients where they at, whether that be from an Indigenous perspective or from an anti-oppressive lens or just from client-centered and client strength-based. So that's really important to how we view our work and how we walk beside our clients. And I think it's helped enhance the quality control and consistency of the services legal aid has provided for child protection matters. And a lot of our clients have felt like they have more trust in the court process as well as the ministry process, knowing that they have these supports around them from an early stage. So, application to immigration and settlement work. Again, we can help your clients at any stage when they have a ministry matter. Immigration status in and of itself is not a grounds to remove children, but we see a lot of families where that is integrated into where the safety concerns are and why the ministry is poking around. So it's always helpful from our experience to be involved with those cases as early as possible, getting them connected to an immigration lawyer, getting them connected to the services that they need. We work in tandem with immigration lawyers. We work in tandem with a lot of community organizations that exist in the Surrey-Langley area. And we have a good relationship with a lot of translation services, so that's not a barrier for us to help any clients. We can additionally provide workshops or presentations to your staff if you work with child protection law and you're confused, or be helpful for you to have a better understanding. We're happy to do that. You can also do, like I mentioned, outreach clinics with your clients. So if you know you have a bunch of clients that might benefit to meeting with us, rather than having them all come to our office, contact us and we can arrange a time where we can come to you, we can see who we can help, and then help triage them and point them in the right direction moving forward for their child protection matter. So I think that's it. That's our address. It's right on King George and 72nd by the Newton bus loop. And that's our phone number. Again, there's a bunch of cards in the back. And if you also call legal aid in general, they can point it to us. And there's on the website. Thanks.